Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I'm Scott.
I'm John.
And we're married. For several long years.
Getting longer by the day.
Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's not getting too stir crazy.
Yeah.
Are we getting stir crazy?
A little bit, but not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Do you want to show off your new cup? Only old nerds will know what that cup is.
Well, yeah. It's from this, I think that was...
Turn the handle towards the camera.
Oh, is it backwards?
No, pick it up. Turn the handle towards the camera. No, turn the handle towards the camera. The other way. There you go. There you go. Keep going so I can see the column.
Ow,
Do you see what I'm saying?
It hurts.
Oh my god, put it down. Oh god, it's burning. I wanted them to see that part.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. So, where'd you get that?
It was an
purchase.
Instagram purchase. It's this place called Out of Print. They have bookish stuff, not surprisingly. So hence the old library card checkout stuff, which I remember.
It's because you're old.
I'm not much older than you. So anyway,
You're a lot older than me. Like years.
Years. Literal years. Anywho. Yeah, so that's fun. Someone asked me what tea I was drinking in one of the comments. Celestial Seasonings, Tangerine, Orange, Zinger.
Tangerine, Orange, Zinger?
Something like that. Yeah, it's just Celestial Seasonings, herbal tea.
Do you put any sweetener in that?
You don't need to. For herbal tea?
Yeah, for herbal tea. Otherwise it tastes like dirt water. And smells like tea. Smells like urban... Smells like Tangerine Dreams or whatever it is, but it smells like that, but it tastes like dirt water. Right?
No, it's herbal tea. There's no dirt water taste. It's just it's like the bubbly of tea, right? It's just the light flavored. No,
I'll
underneath.
take your word for it as I drink my Moscow Mule. Oh, that's the thing I want to know is if people outside the United States drink Moscow Mules, because I think there was isn't it like somebody had too many copper mugs and they had a bunch of vodka and so they made up this drink?
Something like that, or their wife had a bunch of
That's what I'm having. So, it's been a week.
It has.
But, because we're all shut-ins now, we've gotten a lot of knitting done.
We've got like 2 weeks of knitting in a week.
Least,
Yeah.
if not more. We've gotten back into watching other knitter podcasts, which is something that I had kind of drifted away from, not because I didn't enjoy them, but because we just didn't...
EastEnders.
EastEnders. That's totally what it is. EastEnders. If y'all don't watch EastEnders, I can't help you.
Yeah.
It's the best television show it's the best show on TV.
Except for the fact that, it's a 30-year... It's been running for 30 years. It's a British soap. And, unlike Days of Our Lives, which I watched growing up, where, you can pick it up 25 years later and it's still Bo and Hope and Stefano, who I think is dead now.
Kristen.
Well, Kristen wasn't on for a long time, but she's not anymore, I don't think.
Luke and Laura.
That's General Hospital.
Oh, whatever, I don't know. I watch Days of Our Lives, but y'all always... Okay, anyway. It depends on... Go ahead. You were making a point.
So, I was making a point. But
Very vital point to something.
So, but you can watch it, 20 years later, you can sort of pick up, and you're like, oh, look, Stefano or Victor, and,
I think Stefano and Victor are both dead now.
Yes, the actor who played Victor, who is actually Jennifer Aniston's father, just died. But, they have pretty, I think they're designed to have, sort of low... You can figure it out pretty quickly. EastEnders, we call up Betty Ann every 5 seconds to be like, what's going on?
Betty Ann's been watching it for years, and we're like... We have to phone a friend, we're like, what is going on? There's that new character that just came back. What was his
Michael?
name? No, I
Jeff?
don't remember. Anyway, no. Anyway, some character just came back, and I'm like, I have no idea who he is.
Yeah.
He was, and he might not have been an important character because he was trying to talk to Ben about. Anyway, this is not an EastEnders podcast. This is a knitting podcast.
Although, yeah,
believe it or not.
Right. So yeah, we've started watching podcasts again, which is actually quite nice. I think one of the reasons we are podcasting a little more is because I think people are a little more.
Where are you going with this?
Well, it's interesting how other people are sort of dealing with the same situation we are, which is like not having to, being able to go out and stuff like that. So that's been interesting.
Yeah. So we'll talk more about the podcast we've been watching and kind of how we're coping, our COVID coping strategy. Later.
COVID-copia.
COVID coping. Yeah, so why don't we start off with what you got in your hand?
Sure. This is my Marldish sweater. It's a test knit. I should put it on.
And that's spelled Marldish.
Yes, like marled-ish. So anyway, it is coming along. I'm getting close to, let's see. Here's about where it is. Neck. Put it up to the light so people can see sort of what it looks like. I don't know. Is that good? So anyway, it's coming along. I was kind of hoping to get to the point where you join. So these are the, raglan increases here, and getting to the point where you join for the sleeves, but I'm not quite there yet. So, but I've got like maybe 3 inches of...
It's like the yoke. You've gotten the yoke done.
Yeah. So I've got about maybe 2.5 inches of just regular stockinette, and then I get to start the thing where you put the sleeves and like arms on waist yarn. So yeah, still really enjoying it.
So why don't you tell us who the designer is?
So the designer is named Corrado Lark, and that is his name. It's funny. I just assumed because it's just such a fabulous name. I assumed it was like a designer name or a
Ravelry handle.
But no, his name is actually Corrado Lark. He lives in New York.
I want my last name to be Lark.
I think might be his middle name.
Well, whatever.
But I'm not sure. But those are, so Corrado Lark are names he was, I believe, given as on his birth. I don't know, whatever. So anyway, it's a test knit for him, and yeah, it's coming right along. It's been really fun, and I think the last sweater that I just finished a couple weeks ago was also a top-down knit sweater, so I'm feeling pretty confident about that. So that's nice. I'm loving the Marlene. So this is. It's Barocco,
I think.
Barocco. It's fingering weight Barocco. I think the colorway is gold or butternut. And
didn't you say it had different names based on where you looked?
Yeah.
But it was the same color number?
Yeah, for sure. And then the darker brown is Apple Fiber Studios Macintosh something. Macintosh is the base.
You're looking at me like you want me to talk, but I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I don't. Let me find the... I don't have the bands here. Anyway, it was...
Our ratings just plummeted.
You're going to edit all that out.
No, I'm not. I have control over the editing.
I have control over how crappy it gets.
How much work it is for me.
All right. So this is the dark brown. Well, the gold is Barocco Ultrafine Wool, and the colorway is gold. And the darker brown is Apple Fiber Studio Macintosh, and that's, I guess, what they're calling their fingering weight yarn. And the colorway is Cedar Canoe. So
that's right, Cedar Canoe.
So then, basically for the first bit, it's just all marled. So the two yarns held together.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So the neck band is 2 of the rusted
cedar canoe
held together.
Yeah.
But then you've marled the gold with the cedar canoe into the yoke.
Yep.
Okay. So, color quiz fun with John.
Mm-hmm.
So we have been watching the Needles at the Ready podcast, and they mentioned, if you guys haven't watched that one, you have to. It's another married gay couple. Are there any other married gay? Well,
there's the Fiber Hustle
Fiber
people.
Hustle, I don't know if they're a married couple, though.
Yeah.
They're a couple.
They're a couple, yeah. They,
yeah.
Oh, there's Arnie and Carlos.
That's true, Arnie and Carlos.
Yeah.
That's true. Anyway, Needles at the Ready, they're in...
Connecticut,
that's right. Ray is also somewhat colorblind.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he's the same kind of colorblind you are. Anyway.
We could do like a Facebook thing where we take colorblind tests together.
So that would be a fun coronavirus corona coping strategy, is take colorblind tests together on Zoom or something.
Right.
So the question is, Kevin was making something out of that rusted wagon wheel or whatever, which I thought that was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see this? Do you see any red in this, or is it just brown to you?
It's brown.
Okay. Because, I mean, it's hard to describe shades, but, I mean, it's definitely brown.
I mean, it's hard to describe shade.
You look at me and I don't know what you're talking about.
Like shade.
Sweet Tea, no shade. This is the Sweet Tea, no shade podcast. To me, it has red in it. Like, do you understand? I don't mean to be condescending. Do you know
what red is?
Is my red your red?
Obviously not.
To you, do you see the difference between rust and brown?
Yes.
Okay, because this to me is rust. Do you not see that as rust?
Maybe a little bit, but I see it mostly as a rustic brown. It's a cedar canoe. It's cedar canoe color.
But the cedar part, I think, is what makes it reddish.
Yeah, I mean it's got a little bit of it, but I wouldn't say that's a dominant color.
No, by no means.
Stop stretching my neck out.
Sorry.
Okay,
it's all you. So, but it's
purple.
So what's exciting to me about what you're doing is talk about the fade thing.
Okay, so what's gonna happen is because what is happening, just kind of I don't have enough cedar canoe to do the whole sweater, so it's going to. I've got 2 skeins of cedar canoe, so I'm gonna hopefully get to where the arms go, to like right about here, and then do a fade into this other color, which is Emma's Yarn Practically Perfect Sock. Nailed it. It's this gray that has some sort of brown flecks in it. See that? Actually, is it picking up, or is it that's just?
No, I think it. I mean, it's got you can see the rusted.
Yeah.
Rusty colored flecks.
See, I see the rusty colored speckles in that.
But you don't see that as the same color as that?
I see similarity. Yeah. 4 lights. I see 4 lights.
4? No, it's 2 lights. Or 3 lights.
5?
I don't know, whatever.
It's more than there actually are.
Yeah. 3 lights.
Anyway, so what I'm going to do is once I get kind of to here-ish, is I'm going to do a bit of a fade. So, and I don't know if I'm going to do just every other row for a little bit and go into it. Because I think with the Marlene with the same color, they actually don't look that different.
What doesn't look that different?
The difference in them isn't so dramatic that you need to do like this, like the
difference in what?
The difference between this marled with the yellow and this marled with the yellow.
It's pretty stark.
Right.
Your swatch, it was like 2 different colors.
Right, but because the other color marls with it, it's less abrupt. Like,
I see.
I don't need to do like the whole thing where it's like 3 rows, one row, one row. I'm going to do like every other row for a little bit and then go into it.
Well, and that's a very good point, because it's not going to be abrupt, but you could make it more abrupt than you normally would.
Yeah.
And it might be abrupt, but you've got that rusted. Is it the rusted canoe or the gold?
The gold.
The gold will carry through.
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I've seen fades where, like, you do 3 of one color, 1 of one color, 2 of one color, 1 in color, and that just seems, like, really complicated. So I'm just going to do a couple of rows where I'm just switching out every other color.
Gotcha.
For the Marl.
So we've just watched the most recent episode of the Cody Knits podcast, which everybody should check out. Cody, we've gotten an opportunity to hang out with Cody, and it's fun because we watch his podcast, and it's like, we've been doing that apartment. So he was talking about it was a shawl?
No, a sweater. He was doing the Johi something something.
Oh, Johi Locatelli.
Yeah.
Johi
Sorry.
What did you say?
Joji? No.
The Johi Locatelli sweater. Boxy, I think it was the Boxy sweater. He's doing it for someone, and he was doing the thing where you take 2 skeins of yarn and you alternate so that you're not getting any pooling or whatever for different dye lots. But he was doing a technique called helical knitting, which you can do the alternating without it seaming.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, I mean, that might be a fun thing to try with this.
Yeah, but the seam's going to be...
does it already have a seam built in?
It does not, but the seam where the side... So once you get into the underthing, the seam's like on the side, so I just don't care. Like, I don't care if there's a bit of a side seam. And the other one, I did it every other row and it wasn't bad.
Okay.
Like, it's a little bump, I don't care, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Plus
you're trying to test knit this pattern.
Right. I just want to...
You don't want to throw in another complication.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Keep it simple. So yeah, it's really coming along. Again, it's just very fun. I'm doing the thing where...
when you showed it last episode, it was like basically the neckband.
Yeah, it was like a little more than neckband.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of fun. So what I do, and I'm almost done with the raglan increases. So that's exciting. So then it just becomes stockinette, and then it's like basically you can do it while you're riding a bike. I mean, not that you should, but you know what I mean. Like,
you're not allowed to go outside. Can't ride a bike.
Well, I think you can. Just probably should knit while you do it, though.
It's true. All right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna.
All right. Well, let's talk about my sweater project. That's right. I'm doing a sweater project. John inspired me.
Yay!
So I'm trying a sweater project, and for any of you who have watched our previous episodes, this will not be a new.
It's not your first time at this particular rodeo, is it?
I think the first episode I was working. Was I working? No.
No.
Very early on.
Yeah, no. This is
2 years ago. I had started this sweater.
It's been a journey.
Because I want. It's a journey. It's my sweater journey. I wanted to do this sweater. Yes, okay, I'm just going to put this stuff over here because it's in the way. I wanted to do this sweater, and so when I tried it before, the first time I did it, it was too tight. Then I started over, and then I was like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take, I was excited about color work, so I was like, I'm going to put an Argyle pattern in blue across the front. It looked really cool, but I didn't know, I didn't know that with color work, it's recommended that you like go up a needle size, and because basically what had happened was it created this bar of really dense fabric where the color work was, and it was very tight and puckery and weird. So I stopped, and I was like, I hate my life, and I'm never doing a sweater ever again. So then John inspired me, and this is, okay, so later in this episode, and in many future episodes to come probably, our friend Steve, our BFF, his mom unfortunately passed away a few months ago. And she was a knitter, and she had a bunch of knitting stuff, and so he basically wanted us to take it, was kind enough to give it to us, and so we took it, and we haven't looked through most of it. There's some stuff that we have looked through. So what's going to be fun is, like, let's check out the magic knitting bags and see what's in there. However, this was a bag. I love this bag because it says knit 1, purl 2, Pearl. Knit 1, purl 2. So
I wonder if that was a store.
Oh,
And the woman who owned it was named Pearl.
Let's hope. So anyway, this is the bag.
So is that something you got from her?
From Kay, yeah.
Okay,
it was
okay.
From Kay.
Okay.
It was made in Taiwan, so maybe Pearl is Taiwanese.
Sure.
So, so this is the bag that it's in. It was Kay's bag.
I was wondering where that came from.
And I bet this ruler isn't even like accurate either.
Surely it is. That would be.
Regardless, I love this bag. So it came. This is the sweat. I'm doing the sweater that's on the cover of the first issue of Rib magazine. This is the one I'm doing, and this is the one that I've tried multiple times. I'm doing it in acrylic because I am worried about my ability to do it, and so I wanted to use some less expensive yarn. So I'm using Wool Ease by Lion Brand, and the colorway is Mushroom, and it's 86% acrylic, 10% wool, and 4% other fiber, whatever that means. So I did myself a what's it called? A gauge swatch. Did a couple of these and washed them and dried them because that's what I'm going to do with the sweater because it's acrylic and it can handle that. It's machine washable, machine dryable. And I think this was the first swatch that I did, and it was my needles were my stitches were. I had too many stitches, so my stitches were too small. So I had to go up a needle size. And John was really smart. It called for size 7 needles, which I forget how many millimeters that is, but it called for size 7 needles, and so instead of going to 8 and re-swatching, I went to 9s. And that way, if it was too few stitches, then I know that I have to do 8s. But if I go to 8s and it's not quite right, then I have to go to 9s, so it cuts out.
So I have a silly question.
Okay.
This is something I've been thinking about. So when I swatch, I do columns. I don't ever think about vertical swatching, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do? Like if your horizontal swatch is okay, but your vertical swatch is not.
So I've heard, so this is not my knowledge or my wisdom, but what I've heard on most other podcasters or Stacy from Very Pink Knits or other people say is that there's not really much you can do if it's off. So that's why a lot of designers say knit the yoke until it's 5
so long.
inches.
Yeah. Because that was with the that hat, the Valinar hat I did a couple of months ago, 2 months ago, where I got horizontal gauge and it fit beautifully, but I had to add I had to do another repeat of the pattern to make it so it wasn't a beanie.
Yeah, and I think that's just the nature of the beast, I guess.
Yeah.
Is you just have to watch for that, and that's why you have to try things on and measure and stuff like that because I've never heard of a technique where you can do something to better meet vertical gauge.
Right. So it's just interesting because that's just one of those things that you have your gauge in.
Oh, and now that you say that, I guess what you could do is you could measure, and I think this is what I've heard. You could measure the vertical, your vertical gauge, and if you're off, let's say that it calls for 5 rows, and you've only got 4, then you know that you've met 80% of the gauge, and so you have to increase whatever by 20%.
Like the number of rows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's it. That would make sense.
Yeah. I don't know if my math was totally right.
No, but I guess for the most part when I think about it, it's usually inches, right?
Right.
I mean, it's usually measured, so it's not so much.
Oh yeah, the pattern says knit until it's this length.
But with stuff that's has certain number of if that cables and stuff like that, where it has do this Repeat X number of times, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, just okay.
So I did my gauge, and I didn't meet gauge, so I went up to 9s from 7s, and actually I met gauge with the 9s exactly. So
Nice.
Yeah, so that's what I did. So I cast on yesterday.
I think so. Yeah.
And so this is, let me get this out of the way. This is where I'm at so far. And basically with this sweater, I know the neck hole looks giant, but with this, what this sweater is, you cast on, and it's got neck shaping. So you cast on, and then you start the increases, and you get a few rows into the increases, and then you do a bunch of backwards loop cast on. So you're knitting flat at first for the first several rows, and then you do a bunch of backward loop cast on stitches to add stitches to the front, and then you join in the round so that your neck is smaller than the lower than the back.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm really enjoying it, just like I did last time. The other thing is that I'm doing it magic loop, and it called for like 32-inch needles, but I did bigger than that because I was finding it too small. And so I have to do the raglan increases and then knit the yoke, and then you do this, separate for the sleeves and all that. One thing I'll mention is last time I did this, there's a part in the pattern where it says continue in established, or
Evenly.
continue as established, knitting evenly. And so I'm like, what the hell does that mean? So I just kept going and kept doing the increases, kept doing the raglan increases, and then it said knit until you have this many inches and you'll have this many stitches on the needles. And I'm like, how would they know that? Because depending on how many rows it takes me to get to that many inches, that's how many increased stitches I'm going to have. So for this issue, I don't know if they did this for the other issues that they did, but for this issue, they had a Ravelry group, and I went on there and I'm like, what do you mean? How are you going to know how many stitches I have?
Mm-hmm.
And they responded, actually. I think it was the guy that edited this.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, that's what we mean by work evenly. And what I didn't know is that's a very particular knitting term that means you knit as established, but you don't do the increases. You just knit.
Right.
And so having learned that, and I'm not going to add color work like I tried to do last. I think I've grown as a knitter and I've learned a lot of stuff. So I think this is going to go a lot better this time.
Yeah.
So the one thing is that I don't think I finished my thought there, but with the neck hole, what happens is you do the cast on, but then you come back and you pick up the stitches and you do a ribbed collar. So it looks big, but it'll be smaller because you add the collar after. But I don't know if I can't remember if when I've attempted it before, if I took the yarn and kept the yarn from the previous attempts. So I'm not sure I'm going to have enough of the yarn.
I think you have the colorwork sweater somewhere.
I think I might have tossed it because when we were doing one of our Marie Kondo moments.
Oh.
But anyway, what I'm thinking about doing if I don't have enough yarn is doing because the yarn or the sweater has a collar, and then cuffs on the sleeves, and then a band around the bottom, a rib around the bottom. So I might do that in like a different brown. Same yarn, but like a different brown, just in case if I start to get low, and I'll know that.
I mean, you can also
because you do the cut, you do the ribbing and everything, you do all that stuff at the end. So I'll know.
But I mean, worst case, you could probably order more of that.
Yeah, and because it's Lion brand, it's probably gonna match, but I just would worry that like one sleeve would be a totally different color,
right?
Because it's been years.
That's true, and it might have the faded.
Well, or they've changed the formula, or they might not make it, or whatever. So I think I have enough yarn, but we'll see. So I am excited about doing that project.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Do you want to do your FO?
Sure. So, I finished my hat. Isn't it fun? So, this is the Metropolitan Hat also from Rib Magazine issue 1, Metropolitan Hat and Cowl. I just did the hat. I knit this hat pattern the first time. It was the first hat I ever did, and I knit it on our honeymoon and then promptly left it on the bus or something. And
So that's what happens to hats.
so you can't really tell probably very well because of the yarn that I used, but there is slip stitches that create a pattern. And actually this was something else that Needles at the Ready, Kevin had knit, I think. I know he did the cowl once or twice. I don't remember. He did the hat, didn't he?
Don't remember.
I can't remember. But it's just a really fun pattern. And what I love about this pattern the most is the brim, because you knit 6 inches of rib and then you fold it in half and stitch it together, or pick up the stitches together, and then that's where you knit the hat. So the brim is twice the thickness of the rest of the hat.
Super cozy at work today, going grocery shopping.
Yeah. So I haven't washed it or blocked it or whatever. I'll do that. But so the yarn I used is
California Condor.
California Condor is the colorway. I just had it.
The nice thing about doing the podcast, like within a week, I kind of remember stuff.
It's the Willow DK, so it's Round Mountain Fibers. So it's from Vermont. It's the Ornithology collection, and this is the Willow DK base, which is I ran into this last time. 100% superwash merino, sourced from Canada. So it's a great yarn. Loved knitting with it. The color is beautiful. When I was a little worried about it looking a little bit like Halloween, but I think it does look more like sunset.
The pinks help a lot.
Yeah, the pinks and the purples. And yeah. So, and yellows and stuff. So, the way it looked in the hank, I don't remember if I actually, did I show it on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those hanks where most of it's black and then it's got the bright, vibrant colors on one end, and so it ends up kind of pooling or striping or whatever, depending on the pattern that you use it. So it's kind of fun how down here it's striped at kind of a diagonal, and then up here it did fun blips of color. So and I've noticed that people, when they're showing off their hats, they sometimes do it like that.
Oh.
So
it's got a little spiral at the top. That's kind of cute.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Yeah, because when you're doing the top, you don't do that slip pattern anymore.
Oh.
So you just go back to straight knitting with decreases, so that creates that little swirl at the top. So yeah, so I'm gonna knit this hat again because I like it so much, and there's another
skein of yarn
that I bought for that same time I bought this skein. So yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, and so it's in this. It's the Metropolitan Hat and Cowl is the name of the pattern, and the designer is Mina Phillip, who is the Knitting Expat podcast. Yeah. So. All right.
All right.
What have you got?
Oh,
wait. How many more do you have?
I've got one more.
I've got one more as well. Let's do an episode of what's in the knitting bag.
All right. So you set this up a little bit before. This is a bit of a time capsule, but we don't know what's in here. It's almost like doing our project bags, except.
And it is jammed full.
Yeah.
So we might not get through the whole thing.
All right.
Here.
You pull out something first.
Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff here.
Okay.
There's a little pocket on the inside here.
Susan Bates sock shape point protectors. So do you put these over the ends of your... Oh, that's nice. So you put them over the end of your needles so the stuff doesn't...
Oh, and they look like little socks.
Those
That's
are cute.
Fun. In fact, let me do that with this because
Right.
I don't have anything, so... Boop. Boop.
Oh, for cute.
All right.
No, that was
fun.
That was a useful find.
And then these must be ball bands from like...
Yep, from...
So Lion brand.
Yep.
Incredible. What was the colorway? City Lights.
Hmm.
She might have been keeping it for the patterns too, because there's patterns on a lot of these. That's
Yes,
probably why she
there
was
are.
keeping. Oh, this one didn't have a pattern on it, but.
There's the
Oh, this was Cha-Cha yarn.
Ooh.
And the colorway was hippie.
Oh. Does it have a pattern on it? This does. This has a...
That little kid sweater.
Okay.
All right, let's see what else we got in here.
All right.
Okay, looks like we've got notebooks. Just all kinds of stuff. So
Just reach your hand in and pull some out.
Is that stuff they call eyelash yarn?
Yeah, I think so.
Where's the end?
I don't know.
It's kind of matted now.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably...
I don't know where that end is, but it's an interesting skein of yarn. Okay, there's a bag. We'll do this bag and then we'll move on to the next thing, save the rest for later. So this is an Apple
Store bag.
Apple Store bag. Oh, it's got a project in it.
Oh.
So it's got maybe it was a small scarf.
There's a swatch.
And this is a little needle, a little stitch keeper. She took it off the... Oh, maybe it is a swatch. She took it off the needles.
Yeah.
And then this is the yarn.
Oh.
Kind of a gray faded chartreuse color.
Yeah.
So...
Or maybe she needed the needles for something else.
Yeah. Detective work.
It is.
Fun. Alright, so that was fun.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, what would you make with this? Like a scarf?
Yeah.
I don't know what people use
So
these for.
my guess.
Oh, you know what? Pam, who I work with, who knits, what she'll do is she'll do like a poncho, and then she'll use this to do the edging.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh wait, this is the cha-cha. I bet.
Is it?
Hippie. I bet. I wonder if this goes with this.
Maybe. There's a keyhole scarf pattern.
Oh, there it is.
I bet it is. It's for that.
Bernat.
Bling bling.
Bling bling. Keyhole scarf to knit. Cabaret crimson. I bet that's
Yeah, I bet that's it.
Yeah, so it's 100% flammable. 100% nylon.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Cool.
Cool.
Well,
these little needle things are fun.
Those are fun, and I'm just curious, like, how in the world, like, I have problems unwinding like regular yarn, right?
Well, you'd have to almost like cut it and then like just start from there, because I don't know where the beginning is. You're gonna knot that, John, all to hell.
No, wait, I got it.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Oh.
No cursing. Stop.
No, it's good, but like, so now you can, I mean, it's from the outside, but.
Yeah, this is awesome. That tickles. Yeah, you can make like a...
Or you could hold it with something, too.
Oh, that's what you would do.
Right, because I don't think this would be really hard to knit by. I mean, maybe it's super easy, but I think you would hold it.
No, because it would be so small. I mean, it's so small.
But you could hold it with like a red yarn.
Yeah. Or a white yarn or
something like that.
What. I bet it would. I mean, it's super soft.
Yeah.
I bet it'd be nice to make socks for Betty Ann with it or something. Betty Ann, you want this, don't you? You want socks
Would
over
you?
this.
They look like
No, you hold it with a sock weight yarn.
And that would keep it from being all floopity, so it wouldn't look like a bunch of eyelashes and like a Muppet.
Betty Ann don't care. Betty Ann ain't proud.
That's true.
Betty Ann wears tube tops.
Oh, you can knit her a tube top.
I can knit her a tube. That's true.
Oh yeah, no, that's actually good.
Knit her a tube top.
Yeah,
that's what I'll
for
do.
sure. Hold it with some sequin
I'll
yarn.
knit her a cozy to put her skateboard in.
I don't think that's actually a thing.
Well, it might be.
Might be.
All right, so that's fun. We'll play more of that game later.
That is fun. Okay, I love
Wait,
the.
what are we gonna name the game? Like Kay's knitting bag.
Yeah, Kay's knitting band. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. We'll come up with something fun.
Yeah, no, it'll be. Yeah. But that's fun. It's
fun.
always it's fun because like
these little sock or these little needle protector things.
Those are actually quite good.
Kay was a completist. Is that the word? It's the polite way to say hoarder.
No, she was more. She would get a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So that's what's fun is there's all kinds of fun things.
Yeah.
To uncover and discover. All right.
All right.
You next.
Sure. So, one of the things I wanted to do inside out this time. This is my.
Did we explain that we were really close with Kay? Like Steve's our best friend, but Kay was Kay was very important to us too.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of time with her in the hospital when she was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And she spent Thanksgivings with us and stuff like that.
So what I'm working on.
What is that all about?
I don't know. Probably cat.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Keep going.
Don't have cats.
I know. I love them though.
They ruined. You didn't love them so much when they.
I came downstairs to start on my knitting. It was in my project bag, and literally, the working yarn was chewed up to the needles and broken off. So I had to unknit and then magic knot the yarn back together.
Yeah.
Just about murdered two little white fluffy monsters.
Yes. So this is what I'm working on. So we have all this time, and I'm like, well, let me pick up a pattern I've always wanted to do. So this is a pattern called Tailwind. It is by Josh Rybinski.
Geonitrix Designs.
So here, that's what it's in black and white. But
oh, you can tell black and white. I'm very proud of you. That was positive. That was very not. I mean, right?
no, it wasn't.
Here, let me hold it up closer.
So, yeah, it's this pattern I wanted to. I sort of when I picked out the pattern for the Turbulence pattern, I think I bought this at the same time because I was like, I love these two patterns. They're very cool. And what's cool about this is the way you make it is you can kind of see. It isn't really in the black and white, but I think it show. It's basically one main color with 6 different other little smaller sections, right?
They're almost like flag. Like I get flags.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of, I think that's probably what he was trying to do, right?
He has one that's a little bit like this. It's like a pride one. But anyway, I've just always really liked this.
Well, no, I meant like 6 little
like tailwind, like a flag. Yeah.
What's a tailwind? I thought a tailwind was like a wind that blows behind you and makes you go faster.
Right, and so you have a flag that you can see
indicates that?
wind's blowing, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Or I'm making that up. So anyway,
you want to do that.
I know. So what you do is you find, and what I liked about it is you basically take like 6 mini skeins, and then have one skein of 1 fingering weight skein. So it's actually a pretty good stash buster, which I'm trying to be better about doing. So what I did is I bought this.
Sorry, can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
I'm counting 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You there's 12 sections with each mini skein.
Oh, gotcha.
So
there's 2. Okay, anyway, I'll let you talk.
So I bought this mini skein at Notorious.
It was a collection, right?
It was a collection.
Did this
Oh, it's in St. Louis. It was in St. Louis.
Oh,
so,
yeah, right. That's that store in St. Louis.
St. Louis. So I'm gonna sort of pull out. You can't really see it. So anyway, it's
Oh, hold on. How about that?
So that's one. So 1, 2, 3, and then the other 3 are this color. Hang on. This color. And this color. So it kind of does a fade from brown to blue. And I put in, there were 5 in the skein, in the mini skein, and I just threw an extra blue mini skein in there somewhere. So it's called, it's from Diabolique Mini Skeins, and the, it's the Lovely Mini Skein, Lovely Mini Set. See, 70% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and the colorway is called Wit Beyond Measure, which is a Ravenclaw reference, which is good because I'm a Ravenclaw.
Oh.
So anyway, so it's gonna sort of go. You do each section, and then you sort of go. Anyway. So and then
It's diabolical.
Oh,
Is the dyer.
Okay, but I bought it in Notorious.
No, right, but you said diabolique or something.
Oh, sorry. And then this for the sort of background cover color. I found this thing. It's by Dye Monkey Yarns. Tap Monkey is the.
So this is our friend Jessica.
Right.
She's Dye Monkey Yarns, and she has the Knit Up and Dye podcast. And
Yep.
She and I have actually gotten to meet in person, had dinner together. You were out of town.
Yep.
But anyway, it was. Did you buy this skein or did I buy it? It doesn't.
Or maybe
one of us.
weren't you a Patreon for a while, and you won some stuff from her too.
I'm still a Patreon of hers, but
Right.
they don't let you do giveaways anymore. So, but I did win. I think I did win it, and
right,
I bought it. One of the
right.
Rustic Wanderings.
Yeah. So anyway,
It's
that's the sort of background. So it's sort of.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because John and I were looking. You'll see in the project that I show. It's like we were sitting there with all of our knitting earlier today, and it was like, oh, everything that we're doing is the same color scheme right now because this looks identical to the marled cedar canoe in gold.
Yeah, and so this is what I have so far. I am in section 3 of it.
Had you cast this on yet?
No, I cast this on this
last week?
Tuesday, I think.
Yeah.
So that's. I can't really.
You're getting the hang of it. There you go. Here, honey. You talk, and I'll be the model.
Do you have the right side out?
Yes, I do.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not. Is that the right side? Yeah, that's the right side.
No, it's the wrong side.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
So anyway, it has this. So this is the base color, and then this is section
You're
1.
putting a shadow on it.
Sorry. So this is the base color, and then these sort of triangle areas are the.
The middle one is the one that's closest to the base color, so it's a little hard to see.
Yeah, and then then this is the section I just finished right up there.
Yeah, the blue one.
So
it's over here.
Yeah. So yeah, so far so good. It's really, what I like about this pattern is it is 4 pages long. Sometimes shawl patterns can be like books. So it's basically you do the same repeat with each color, and then there's a second set of repeat with each mini skein color.
So in the pattern, it looks like these mini skeins go like way up. Oh, as the shawl grows in size, then you have to do
it gets
more.
longer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So down here, it doesn't
really,
do that because it's
right.
short.
It's really small. Yeah.
So what is all this white?
I don't know.
These white fibers.
They just sort of show up magically. And then for the cast on, it was interesting because I had to learn Judy's Magic Cast On. which was really interesting and complicated.
Is that Minnesota interesting?
Well, I mean, it was cool when I got it done, but
in
it
the
was
Midwest. They say
it was one of those things that
interesting.
It's usually done for doing toe-up socks, right?
Yeah.
So it made sense with that, but it was kind of weird. I mean, what it ended up doing was like you started up here and it ended up having like 2 I cords. I can't remember what it did why and where formation. Ask Josh. But
when he lives in the same city we do, that was another thing that's kind of fun about it.
So we
have friends in common. We've just never met.
Yeah. So he's I really like his patterns. He does really fun stuff with shapes and colors and stuff like that.
Oh, and he has tutorials.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you're probably going to talk about that.
No.
Okay.
I mean, he does, but I wasn't going to talk about it. He actually did a tutorial on how to do the cast on, which was actually really, really helpful. So yeah, it was really fun. He's done some he does like mystery cows and stuff like that. So he has a lot of stuff. He has a ton of really cool patterns. But
he must knit super fast too.
Oh yeah. But anyway, what I'm excited about this, I'm kind of going to use it. You know, it's not so much of a shawl, but more of a neckerchief type thing.
And he's one of those designers, like he and Stephen West, especially early Stephen West, where they make shawls, and this is going to sound horrible, but they make shawls that you can wear and it doesn't look like you're wearing your grandmother's shawl.
Right.
They're a little more gender neutral or whatever, so I mean, we shouldn't get hung up on that stuff, but sometimes it's really lacy and everything.
It's a little. It's yeah. There isn't a lot of lace work in this one, and I think what I like about this one is just like you could do this in like any. Oh, that looks really nice. Like the different people, different combinations of colors, and you can change the tenor of the piece, and because we're doing this kind of like blue and earth tones, it'll be very sort of like laid back. But you could do this in
because I think his sample is like a black yarn with bright
like almost neon colors.
Yeah.
So that's coming right along. I'm learning to unwinding mini skeins is fun because it doesn't take very long. And
You mean caking them up?
Caking them up, yeah.
That was something else that somebody was talking about on another podcast. I don't remember, it was a long time ago, but they were talking about taking one of the really over the top, not a bad way, really over the top, intense Stephen West shawls, but doing them like in earth tones.
Yeah.
Instead of like the neon colors that he does, just to see kind of like the juxtaposition of the different geometric shapes and all the different techniques, and then but in earth tones.
Yeah, I mean, because that one when I did the doodler.
You did the doodler.
That was one where I kind of went and did crazy colors. It was super fun,
and it turned out
beautifully.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think the nice about shawl knitting, even though they're not like something that I wear very often, it's a really because usually it's pretty popcorny. So you can just sort of do long stockinette or long garter, and it's just kind of a fun way to like go through and like do something fun with colors because you aren't constrained by the fact that you have to do sleeves and stuff like that, and the shape is very whatever you want it to be. So I think it's why people like knitting them. I think people like designing them because
All right, well, let me talk about my last project that I'm working on. It's one that I've shown. I know I showed it last week. It's the sock, because I'm always going to have a sock on the go. And this is this is the yarn from Ted Knits UK, the Foxy. So awesome. Again, it's the same kind of family.
I know. It's actually the exact template, I think, of the of the shawl.
Yeah.
Browns into blues.
Yeah. So, this is my and this was something else that the Needles on the Ready guys talked about, is they're trying to figure out their sock pattern. That was something that I spent a lot of time on, is finding out, because now I can
your recipe, right?
what did I say?
Pattern.
Recipe, yeah, sorry.
Mm.
And now I can just pick up a skein of sock yarn and my 2.5 millimeter needles, cast on 64 stitches, and I know exactly, and I know how long to knit everything. I am going to get into different heels, but the Rose City Roller, heel flap and gusset, I've talked about it I think every episode because I just think it's so much fun. But I just finished the heel flap. No, yeah, the heel flap. And I know. Okay, here's something I did. I've never done this before. It was a mistake. I got to go back and I mean, I almost have to redo the whole thing. Well, I do have to redo the whole. Sorry, let me breathe. The heel flap, and then you do the heel turn with the short rows. And I did something wrong, and my heel turn is off to one side of the heel flap. No clue how I did that. I've never made that mistake
I have no
before.
idea what you're talking about.
So
No. I just don't know anything about sock heel construction.
Yeah, I know. So the heel, this stuff that I've got here, should be centered, and I'm there's 4 stitches over here. So instead of my, the heel of your sock, being so like this is your sock and it goes on your heel.
Yeah.
Heel sits in like this. The bottom of the heel is shifted over to one side. That's the heel turn down here. It's shifted over. It doesn't look like it. You can't really tell.
Right. I just wonder, is it...
But this whole chunk of the heel flap over here is like hanging out. And I never knit it. I never did the heel turn. I never include... It's supposed to be across all the stitches, and it's somehow just on these stitches. I did something wrong.
Yeah,
So I'll go back.
You can't just knit those 4 stitches up, can you? And
no, because the whole thing is shifted over 4 stitches.
Oh, okay.
It's not centered.
Oh, that's why it's like going over a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I'll just unknit that, or I'll tink that back and fix it and whatever. It's not that big a deal. I just don't know what I did. So, yeah, so that's what I'm working on for my sock, and I'll figure that out, and then in my next pair I'll do a different heel. So I thought, we didn't talk about this ahead of time because I love springing things on you. I love
surprises.
What's that from? I love crazy. Can I just say something crazy?
I love crazy.
I love crazy. I thought it'd be fun to have a Corona coping moment. Like a Corona coping segment.
Okay.
You don't sound excited. You don't, please, your enthusiasm is just overflowing.
You should explain the concept to me, and then I'll...
Why are you nervous? I never do anything crazy.
Okay.
I only had a couple sips of that. No, so I thought it would be fun, and people who aren't interested don't have to listen to this part because we're done with the knitting part, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about some of the stuff that we've been doing. So in Minnesota, we live in the state of Minnesota, and each state in the United States, for those of you who don't live in the United States, is kind of handling it on a... each state is doing their own thing based on the level of number of viruses, the number of cases and stuff in that state. What?
Nothing.
What's the matter?
No. I mean, it's...
Because, in California, they have a shelter-in-place order where they're not allowed to go to they're only allowed to go to the grocery store and to work.
Right.
Here, we can go to any store we want.
Right. Most stores are closed.
Right.
No. I was going to do a federalism and the politics of public health lecture, but we don't need to get into that, do we? I was just like, well...
My husband has a master's degree in public health.
Well,
it's
just interesting because it's not... Yeah, anyway, well, whatever. That's not important, so...
So anyway, in Minnesota, certain stores that can be open are open. So, for example, we went to Target to get, some necessities, and then we were able to go to a burrito restaurant and get food.
But it was takeout.
But it was only takeout, and you order on the app on your phone, and then you go up to the door, and they bring the order to you at the door. You're not allowed to go into the restaurant unless... You can go into the restaurant, like I ordered a pop, soda. So I went in and got the soda, but you can't linger in there. You can't go in and stand in line and get the food or sit down and eat like you normally can. So, and like we went to Target and all that kind of stuff. But most people are trying to not go out, and if at all possible, except for just to buy necessities and whatever. What was my point with this? Anyway, that's kind of how it's going on in Minnesota right now. We're working from home. John and I are both working from home. We're not going into our office. I work in healthcare IT, so I'm not one of the people that's working directly with the patients, but I work in IT. It supports the people who are working with the patients, and so I'm doing that remotely. So one of the things that we've been doing that's kind of fun is a couple things, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this or are doing it yourselves, and that's having Zoom parties. So that's where people, so there's a Zoom.com. It's typically used for like bit meetings, you know, and stuff.
Remote meetings.
Remote meetings. So like we've all been getting on there and turning on our cameras, and it's like we're hanging out and talking. So we've done that.
We've played games over Zoom with people.
So that's like
fun.
There's jackbox.tv is a website you can go to, and you can find out about the games, and you can get it on different platforms, and it's different word games and stuff, and then one person shares the screen, and then the other people look at the screen, and then you play on your phone. So it's like that's been a lot of fun. And then today we did something called a Netflix party. So if you've got Netflix, everybody who's doing it has to have a Netflix account. But you go to you go and you download this software that plugs into Chrome, the internet browser, and so you all connect to Netflix at the same time, and then you can all watch a movie together, and then on the side is a chat window that you can all chat and stuff during the movie. So we've done that.
Yeah.
And then there's a game that I played with some neighbors of ours that's just, the same. That's something people have been doing forever, especially kids much younger than me, where you wear the headset and you talk and do stuff like that. So that's some of the stuff that we've been doing. We've been knitting a lot. I'm refinishing some chairs. Oh yeah, that's cool. Right. So, yeah, I mean it's weird. Yeah. So, yeah, it's weird. And of course we are taking our monster dog for a WALK.
He's asleep. He won't hear. But
yeah, if you said that word, I think he would wake up right away. And I think he's pretty happy that we're here all the time. But yeah. So having said all that, I hope everybody's doing well and not getting too stir crazy. I don't think any of us know how long it's going to go on, but we're going to do as many of these episodes as we can because we're going to have lots of knitting to show off. I know, it is. It's getting a lot of stuff done, so that's exciting. And we're definitely going to try to purchase local dyers and stuff. Oh yeah, so I bought. Or you haven't gotten it yet. I haven't gotten it yet, but I was on Instagram, and one of the people I follow, it's Yarns by Ken. He had a thing up, and I'm like, okay, I'll buy it. I mean, we have a job. I have a job. I have income. Might as well buy yarn. Yeah. Yeah, and help the people that we're trying to buy food from local restaurants, like local mom and pop type restaurants, to help them out and have it delivered. And it's the side benefit of, getting to eat out. Right, right. Lot. Yeah. So we're trying to do that. And we have plans to cook. Yeah. Well, we're cooking probably every other dinner or so. Or cooking. Bake or something like that. Or bake. Yeah, I was going to make bread today and I forgot. Yeah. I thought about that. I was like, we should bake some bread, but it was like 7 o'clock. Yeah, so I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we will, I'm sure, have another episode again soon. And thanks to everybody who watches and comments. It's a lot of fun. Yep. So we'll be back soon. So bye. Right, bye.